Well, thanks everyone for joining me. This is your host, ID Jester. As you know, we've been playing lots of Tigers on the Hunt. Of course, that releases February 25th, 2016, so just a few short days. And since I've been playing a lot of Tigers on the Hunt, I decided to look at some more of my infantry combat system games that have been sitting here waiting to get played. And kind of decided to play one game here that I don't feel gets enough love. So I'm going to give it some love here. John Tiller's campaign series. It is a great series of games. Now, it is an older game. I'm not sure the release on it. I'm thinking probably mid-2000s. So it's a good 10 years old or so. But there is so much in this game. It's so good. I just can't believe it. But to be good at this game, you kind of have to understand what's going on and what the mechanics are. So we're going to go ahead and play through a couple of the boot camp scenarios for you guys, kind of describe how the game plays out and the most important features of the game, and see how it goes. There is so much involved in this game. As I said, not only can you play many different kinds of scenarios, you can actually play a dynamic campaign, which it randomly generates different scenarios for you. You actually are a leader on the map, and you have to keep yourself alive. And there is actual like realistic campaigns that you can play, a whole bunch of them. You can actually generate a random battle, all kinds of different sizes, just from a few units from each side to like hundreds on each side. And of course it comes with East Front and West Front and of course Rising Sun. There's a ton of content in this game, and I don't think it gets as much love as it should. So we're going to go ahead and play the West Front here and get into playing this scenario. Alright, so there we are. We are going to actually play it on, we're going to play as the Allies there. And we're going to play the computer on just the computer mode without any fog of war because it'll be easier for me to explain things. We don't have any of the special rules involved. So again, we'll have more details of the enemies that we shouldn't have because I'm not actually enabling all of this stuff. And I think it's easier for you guys to learn if you can see what we're doing. So that's why I've decided to do it the way I have. So you can see we have 7 turns to complete this scenario. There's a couple victory hexes up here, and we have some units down here that we need to obviously get over and start taking over these victory points. We will lose points for every one of our units that has been killed or damaged, and the same thing, we'll gain points if we damage or eliminate enemy units. You can click on a hex and you can see the information about the unit up here in the top right hand corner. So the most important thing to keep in mind is this uses an action point system. Everything you do with your units costs a certain amount of action points. When these action points are used up, you can no longer do anything until the start of your next turn, and that's important, until the start of your next turn. If you want to opportunity fire when the enemy's moving units around, you have to have available action points to do that. If you're like me, you probably loaded this game up, played it a couple times, got totally decimated, didn't understand what you were doing, uninstalled the game and said, oh my gosh, I can't believe that game. And then wait until the next time you reinstall it, try it once again and play it some more and totally get decimated some more. So I'm hoping to prevent that from happening to you guys and giving you guys a little bit of information that I think will help you guys be able to play this game a little bit better. There are many different important factors to keep in mind when we're doing this game, and as I said, as we play through the scenario, I'm going to go through more. But action points and how you use your action points is one of the most important things. The next thing is actually finding out about the capabilities of your unit. If we highlight our units, you can see it's highlighted because it's got an orange border there. It's also got like a purple border around the units. And we hit the F2 key on our keyboard. This is going to bring up all the information about the unit. And one of the most important things to look at is actually the range of the unit. So you can see we have a maximum firepower of 10 at range 1, and then it goes down from there, and our maximum range is 3 hexes on here. So obviously, if we can get adjacent to the enemy, we're going to be doing a lot more damage than if we're shooting from a long distance away. There's a blue bar for soft targets and a red bar for hard targets. Obviously, hard targets are like armored vehicles and the like, and you can see we only have a range of 1 for those units. So we'll go ahead and close that. What are we up against? Now again, because I don't have any Fog of War set, we're going to be able to actually look at our enemy units. Again, we're going to click on it. We can see that it's a was that a Schützen 43? It looks like an infantry unit. And again, I can bring up the information on it by hitting F2, and we can actually look at the range. Now again, because I don't have any Fog of War on, I think it's just easier for us to see what we're up against, and so you can kind of understand how things flow in the game. You can see this unit actually has more firepower against hard targets. It only has a range of 1 again. That's a red bar. But the blue targets here, it actually has a range of 4. So it can outrange us here, although damage-wise it looks like it does slightly more damage than our units do. Our rifle platoon anyways. We have some other units as well. If we look at our, if we have multiple units in a hex, we can actually double click on the hex. It'll select both of our units or all our units in the hex. And you can see one of them actually is a leader, and this leader is giving us a bonus to our morale here as well. You can see that that figure is in red here. If you look at our other rifle squad, you'll notice our morale is 5. This rifle squad here actually has a morale of 6, so our leader is making it much easier for us to recover from morale and the like. So we also have, what do we have here? Another rifle platoon. We have a 30 cal machine gun, and we have some mortars. So each of these are going to have different ranges and capabilities. The most important thing in this series of games, the campaign series, is to not just rush forward without getting some kind of plan of attack. And the best way you can kind of figure that out is there are 2 very important buttons down here at the bottom. Display visible hexes. So if I click on a hex, it will show me all of the available hexes that that hex can see. If we look at our actual scenario information about this scenario, we will see that there is a visibility of 5 hexes. So you can only see 5 hexes. It doesn't matter if you have blocking line of sight or not. So that means if these units come marching down the road, this guy's going to be able to see them, and once we get within range, he's going to be able to shoot them. So we have to figure out where the best avenue of approach is for our units based on the line of sight. Again, over here, we can see that this unit over here can't see over this general vicinity from where his location is right there. So what I'm thinking about doing is bringing our units up this way and bringing our mortar up this way. And if this unit ends up moving into this hex, we will have some firepower and be able to mortar both of those units in that one hex. So let's see how that goes. I'm just trying to get this unit to move. Unfortunately, this looks like a fortified town location. In fact, if I click on it, you will actually see all the capabilities of that. So it's a village, and it looks like it's been fortified, although I'm not sure if it actually says that in there or not. This one is just a village. You notice that the village here has some actual explanations, some stars that I think that means it's fortified. It doesn't actually list that there. So unfortunately it is a fortified position, so it's going to be harder to break through them, but I just don't see any avenue of approach. We've got nothing but clear terrain unless we come all the way across here. The problem is it's going to take us several turns to kind of swing around this way, go through the forest, come up, cross a river. It's going to take us like 3 turns to go over there. We only have 7 turns to complete this scenario. So let's get things moving here. Another very important hex or button is this button here. This is the button that will show you what hexes you can actually move into. So you can see all the hexes are highlighted that I can move into. There's a double time feature which will tire your unit out, but you might be able to get an extra hex. And I think that's what we're going to do. We'll actually move this guy up here. Alright, what is this guy? This is a rifle platoon. Alright, so again, the problem is we only have a range of 3. 1, 2, 3. So we need to get hexes in here. This guy's only got a range of 4. Just not, I mean, we'd have to get somebody over into this hex. Again, we'd have to come down the road and cross, which would get opportunity fire, or we're going to have to spend several turns flanking around. Let's flank with at least one unit here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He can get to that hex, so we're going to move there. We're going to move there. And you notice we can't get across, and you notice we're out of movement points, or action points. Don't have enough to get across. Alright, these guys, we can get all the way here, but of course we'll just get them shot up, which is alright. I'm thinking maybe we'll bring our leader and another squad over this way. Bring the 30 cal over on this side. Alright, so let's see how that goes for us. Alright, and same thing, we're going to just slide this guy up here. And then last but not least, our mortar unit. I'd like to get him up as fast as I can, so if we double time him, will we be able to get up a little bit faster? There we go. Alright, so we will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hexes. That's pretty good. So let's actually look at our mortar unit. Here's the range of it. You see we have a range of 7. And firepower capabilities going down as we go. So at a range 1, 2, 3, 4 seems like our perfect. We get a nice bump from range being at range 4 as opposed to range 5, 6, and then 7. Okay, so we'd like to get them up one more space, but of course if we do that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's actually 6 spaces away right now. Let's see if we can actually. We were out of action points, so we won't be able to do anything. Okay, so using the line of sight, you can click on any hex and be able to see where, if a unit's in that hex, what they can see. Obviously, planning and figuring out where your units can go. And now we're done with the turn. So, access player turn 1. They didn't do anything, and you notice we got all of our action points left. Now, there is a bar that we can put on the bottom of our units, which is this button right here. And we can either use action points, we can use our strength, or we can use our morale, blue, green, or red. I find action points to be the most helpful. Alright, so now another button that's kind of important is our range button here. And you can see we are within range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces away. This space is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. To actually bomb him, that's going to be a problem. Let's see where we can see. We can get to this spot and still see that hex. This is why line of sight's important. So I figure out, okay, I can get here and I can see this hex. Problem is, if I get there, this guy's got a range of 1, 2, 3, 4. He can still attack us. If I go here, 1, 2, 3, 4, he can still attack us from this village, assuming he's got shots left. Alright, and you notice he's got this nice avenue of shooting us right down this gully here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we don't want to go into that hex. So let's move into that one, and then move into that one. And we don't have enough action points left. You can see our action points have been used. Alright, so where is... I can move up one more space. So another very important button is when we look at our action points here, you see there's a line here. This line represents how many action points it's going to take for this unit to fire one time. And you can see that that bar is there. So what I can do is I can tell the computer that I don't want to use these action points. The only action points I want to use are the ones above that line. So this way I know I can always fire one time. So what I can do is I can actually click on this button down here that's going to toggle the fire cost set aside. And you will see that I've got a little bullet up here on our little action bar here, and it's set those action points for me, so I will not use them. I'll still be able to fire at least one time. Now if I go to what hexes I can go into this hex, or I can go into this hex. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that'll still be out of his range, and it'll get us a little bit closer. There we go. Alright, and there we go. So you can see I now have line of sight. This guy should be able to now attack. So there's several ways you can do it. You see down here in the bottom left hand corner is a green arrow. I can switch that to attack. Or more than likely what you want to do, and it's easier, is just be in fire mode, and all you have to do is hold your control key down, and you can see it switches over to a like a target reticle. So let's go ahead and lob some shells in there. Let's see if we can do some damage. So because I have on one of the options I actually have on is high details. So we're getting extra details. Normally you might just say unknown result against unknown enemy. If you have on Fog of War, you have no idea. But for training purposes, we're just going to show you. So there's the unit we're going. Here's our attack value. Our defense has been modified by 48%, and there's no effect. So again, pretty hard to get this guy out of this location because it is a fortified location. So what we need to do is really, I'd like to get this guy in a position where he's closer to bomb this, but the closer I get, that means this guy's going to be able to do opportunity fire. So alright, so you guys, let's see what hexes you can get to. You can only get across the bridge if I double time you. That's going to fatigue you. Yeah, let's go ahead and move these guys in there. And get these guys over there. There we go. Alright, now you guys, keep your heads down and crawl over there without getting killed, please. You're out of action points. You can't do anything. Thank you. Alright, so you can see all of our little bars here pretty much. I can quickly see. The other thing I like to have on is this highlight disrupted units. So if I turn this on, a unit that's disrupted will have a pink border around its base, so I can quickly see. So I'm going to turn that on now before I forget about that. There's other options. You can turn on fixed units. You can turn on units that have, you can see they're all pink now, units that are moved. But I can see that if they've moved by the action bar, so I don't need that. I like the disrupted one on there. Alright, so that is turn number 2. Not a lot of action going on right now. And now the allied player is going to get all of his points back. One artillery unit is unavailable. And he didn't do anything, so it goes right back to our turn. Again, what I'm going to do is click on this unit here. Don't tell me. He is out of... He's out of supplies. That's rather unfortunate. That's what that little bullet, the empty bullet, means. Is at the beginning of each turn, if you fire, you have to get your supplies back the next turn. And depending if you're within the command radius of your commander, you will have a 50% chance of getting your supplies back or not. So, anywho, let's move this 30 cal up here, which will cause this unit to opportunity fire, because he's got opportunity now. Hopefully. Gosh. Okay, so he fired, and shows the unit that fired, the unit that was the receiver of the fire, his attack value, the defense value. He only got 80% of his attack value because of the terrain we're in, but he reduced us by 1 and disrupted us. So you can see it's now in pink, and if we click on it, you can see disruption and reduced by 1 means that our strength has gone down by 1. Again, this is like a platoon of guys, and so we had 2 squads of machine guns, but one of our squads has been killed. We're down to a strength of 1. Alright, so we're going to shoot back. Let's move these guys into that hex and see if we draw any opportunity fire. We do not draw any opportunity fire, so we can always go back to units. You don't need to spend all the points. What I'm trying to do is get him to use his opportunity, or his 1, 2, 3, 4. See if I move this guy up to this space so I have line of sight. Problem is, I then run into a problem where this guy can now shoot me. Of course, being closer to the enemy is good, because you get more firepower that way, which is very realistic. Can this unit can't see into this hex here. This unit can. Alright. So it's a decision of what I do here. I'm trying to get them to use their defensive. If I can get them to use up all their defensive power, I could then make an assault forward, but we really need to get somebody disrupted first. If we move this guy over here, we do have a good opportunity to shoot at this hex. A weaken is a little bit easier, that defender over there. Of course, that was going to draw fire, and these guys will be out in the open. So, right now they don't have any capabilities because they don't have any ammo, so we'll move them up there. Okay, so we moved them up, he got shot, and they retreated. So, all that just for a retreat, but most important thing is this guy is shot twice. We know that now, so we're just not going to be able to do anything. Take a shot at this guy, see if we can get something to go. No effect. Okay. The opportunity fired back and ended up reducing us by 1 and disrupting one of our units. So disrupted units have a nice little big D on them. They can't move towards an enemy unit. They lose firepower. And they have to become undisrupted at the start of your turn. Gosh, so this guy still has an opportunity. Alright. This guy, shoot. No effect. So we've done nothing, absolutely nothing to the enemy. The enemy is shooting us to smithereens so far, but gets all of his action points back at the beginning of the turn. So we were reduced by 2, and now we've been disrupted. No effect, and no effect against our leader. The Allied fired back. No effect. Alright, 1 unit low on ammo, and total of 0 units disrupted or recovered morale out of 2. So, none of our units recovered their morale. Good. So you can see I'm highlighted in pink. This guy's highlighted in pink as well. He's down to 3 firepower from his 6 firepower. This guy can now actually attack. Looks like he's recovered from getting his, he's got his ammo again. I'd like to move him up there and then bomb this position, but this guy's got one more opportunity fire left. Alright, no effect. So they each only have one opportunity left. Oh, wow, we got a good result. Excellent. So, now let me see if I choose this guy and this guy. Nope, I want to choose the leader, and I want to choose the rifle platoon that is not disrupted. There we go. So they're both highlighted. Where can you guys make it to? I can't make it in there. I really would like to make it in there. I bet you if I double time, I still can't make it in there. Oh, I can. Excellent. I took a chance. Alright, so what we got to do is try to get this guy to use up his opportunity fire. This guy's now out in the open, so that is going to severely help us. One little thing, like being able to do that. So let's see if this guy will actually. He's going to save it because he knows we've got more units to come up. In fact, he actually can't shoot. Good. All right, so I know that now. So we will select these two guys and go up there and take that hex. Dun-dun-dun. Excellent. So disrupted unit, we could move him closer anyways. They can shoot, but of course they're at 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. You see it's outside of our little hex there. So this is maximum range for our units anyways. But since he's disrupted, he can't move up. So we might as well get a shot at that guy. And then we're going to leave one available for opportunity fire. This guy here, we would really like to do some damage back to that thing. No such luck. And last but not least, we're going to move this unit here. Now we have line of sight there, so we should be able to drop orders on his head. Excellent. Caused him to retreat. So that's pretty much about as good as we could have asked for. Whew. Finally our plan's starting to come together, and it all because of that one result making this guy retreat. If he wouldn't have retreated out of there, we would have had a lot of trouble coming across there. And of course, by making him use his opportunity fire, that of course helped as well. So we're on turn 4, Axis player. So he's shooting here. No effect. Good. And he's shooting from this guy into that hex. Now we're in the fortified position. His attack is modified by 48%. So you can see how important getting the position was. So damage report, no effect. And he decides to move over there. We don't have any opportunity fire, so he's able to come back into that hex there. 2 units are now low on ammo. And 1 of our units recovered morale. So, let's see. Yes, you can see this unit here is no longer highlighted in pink. You can see this guy is still highlighted in pink. So this guy is still recovering from his morale. 1, 2, 3, 4. We could shoot with our machine gun to this guy here. Looks like this guy's got no action points left, as you can see there. This guy here has got enough action points that he can fire 1 time. So let's see if we can do something about that. First things first, we got our mortar, we got our range is perfect now. In fact, we could take 2 shots with our mortar. Pew, pew. Or we can move up to this very important hex and get 1 shot. So again, if we bring up our information, this is where actually learning the game comes into play and not just throwing units around the map hoping and praying for the best results. You can see at our range of 1, 2, 3, 4. At a range of 4, it looks like we got an attack value of like 9. But at range 5, it looks like we got an attack value of about 5 or 6. So getting that one step closer is going to actually give us like 3 extra points of attack. So I'm actually willing to give up one of our attacks, and just to make sure, I'm going to just click on the toggle fire cost set aside. So again, it's going to keep those action points allocated for firing. It will not allow us to use those, so I want to make sure I don't. And then I'm going to try to move them up into this hex there. And you can see we are there, and now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4. So that should give us extra firepower. And we reduced it by 1 and disrupted it. So that is actually a very, very good result. I'm quite happy with that. Thank you very much. Alright, so he's got one more shot, so what we should try to do is push him out of there. So what I think we might do is there a button? So there's other buttons you can use. Save AP for loading or unloading, save for firing. There is not one to save one for an assault though, so we could try to this guy's within range 1, 2, 3, but again he's got low firepower. This guy's at max range, so low firepower as well. We're in a position to actually assault this guy. We could bring both these units and this unit and kind of overwhelm them. But that would allow this guy an opportunity to move back into this hex here. So let me give it a quick think, and I'll be right back. Alright, well, what I decided here, folks, I had to take a quick break. Sorry about that. Anyways, this point here is too valuable to risk having this guy get back into this location. So what we're going to try to do is just see if we can assault here. So what I'm just trying to do is move into an enemy location. Of course, we'll have results here. If you don't have your if you have Fog of War on, it'll basically just say unknown versus unknown. So again, we're just trying to, so you can get a feel for how the system works here. We're just leaving all the numbers available to us. Let's go ahead and resolve that assault. Of course, we can add units to that assault, but I think we'll resolve it. Alright, so we were able to force the retreat of the defenders. That's excellent. Now, what we can do is target from this unit over here, 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Again, you can see right at the edge of our range. So low probability of getting anything done here, but especially since he's demoralized. This guy this guy is demoralized now, which is good for us. We could do a major assault with these guys. Oof. Against these guys here, but I think what I'm going to do is first thing I'm going to do is shoot with this guy, just hoping and praying. So if there's multiple units in a hex and you're not doing area attack, what will end up happening is if we do an attack here, it'll actually bring up a window, a little message, and it'll ask you, do you want to shoot at this guy or this guy? If you're doing an area attack, obviously that won't happen. If you're playing in 3D mode, you can actually just select your unit by putting your cursor right on top of that unit. And of course, if you're not sure, you could just put your cursor anywhere there isn't a unit, so that way you can bring up the little menu here. Obviously, we want to try to demoralize this guy as well. Yep, no effect. I didn't figure it was going to, but we do have a couple of tries at it. Yep, no effect again. Okay. But we do have our units here. Again, double click in the hex to select everyone. And let's see what we have here. Double click for both of them. There we go. Looks like we have all of our capabilities still, so let's go ahead. No effect. He decided to use his last opportunity fire on us. No effect. That's actually good, because what I want to do now is actually move this guy up into this hex. There we go. See, I have movement left. No. Alright, but these guys should have one more shot. Again, we'll go after this non-demoralized guy. No effect, unfortunate. And last but not least, just to make sure, this guy. Nope. Alright, so everybody's gone. We have no opportunity fire. We used everything up. But we've taken over the victory locations. And obviously that is going to be the most important thing. Right now we're looking at victory. We're looking at a minor victory. We need to get 60 points. So we need to, for a major victory. So we have all the victory locations. The problem is we lost a lot of support points along the way, which costs 12 points. We've only killed actually one loss against the enemy. So probably not going to get a major victory, but at this point a victory is a victory nonetheless. So let's see what they do when it's their turn. So his unit didn't recover from being disrupted. That's good. You can still see it's highlighted in pink, which means his values will be down. He took a shot, no effect. Good. We actually we did have some movement, some opportunity fire there back. It must have been behind this thing. I didn't see it. So we actually caused him to retreat. He attacks us, no effect. The defenders, attackers, somebody become disrupted. It looked like they tried to assault into our hex and were unsuccessful. Ha ha ha. Alright, so we got one artillery unit is now available. 3 units are low on ammo. And our unit still did not recover. Turn 6. Let's see what this unit down here. Let's see what. Oops, line of sight. Yep, we need to get him out over. Let's again use our toggle fire costs. Make sure we don't use that. Oh, it looks like he doesn't have any ammo as anyways. So let's see if we can get him into that position. Nope. Can't quite get him up there. Let's go ahead and toggle that back off so we can. There we go. Alright, so now what we could do is make a push on these guys. These guys are both demoralized. So what we can do is assault into that hex. We got 2 squads that are not demoralized versus 1 squad that is. And should be able to shoot at them. Both of them again are demoralized. That's good. Shoot at them with this. Caused another retreat. Caused another retreat. And this guy's still demoralized, so he can't go closer to enemy units, so he can't move up. We actually have little opening here that they wanted to. They could try to come down there, but fortunately they're both demoralized right now. Neither one recovered. So we're shooting at a pretty low chance of doing any damage. 3 units low on ammo. 1 unit undisrupted recovered. So finally our machine gunner, 30 cal. Looks like they both have left 1 opportunity shot. So we'll we will bring these guys back to the location. No effect. No effect. So it looks like they've shot everything they could shoot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hexes, so we definitely want to move this guy up. But we want to check our line of sight again. So from that hex, we can get into this hex, which would be 4 hexes away, and still be able to shoot. So we will do that. Highlight our hex, our unit, move in there, and then area fire, so it'll attack everybody in that hex. Oh, actually not, because we can directly see it. And we eliminated that, so that's good. Now, let's see if we got... Oh, we got a major victory. We're up to 62 points now. Excellent. Alright, these guys... No effect. Eliminated them again. There we go. That'll be it. Alright, we'll just advance the turn. Time scenario is reached. And look at that. Allies, major victory. I didn't think we could do it there, but we ended up doing it. 66 points. Again, we got a lot of points there right at the end by killing off those last units and gathering all the victory points. So, I'm going to save the current file. So before we actually exit out, so the main thing with the campaign series of games here by John Tiller, again, you can check out this game on the Matrix Games website if you're interested. Like I said, it's a little bit older game, but man, there is a ton of information, scenarios, generate random battles, tons and tons of campaigns. We looked at some of this stuff in the beginning, but to really be able to play this game well and kind of understand, and we haven't even really delved into a lot of the more advanced features and stuff, but you want to see what hexes you can see, what's visible from certain hexes, and you also want to find out where your units can move to during a certain turn. Those two buttons, in combination with trying to figure out exactly how many action points, how far you can move, reserving your action points to be able to fire, is really the key behind this system here. Of course, as the attacker, you're going to take some losses, but as you can see, we were able to disrupt and get those units out of there. So once the unit's been disrupted, they kind of are not at full capacity there. You're able to take advantage of them, and also the fact that units that use up their firepower can opportunity fire. So sometimes you might have to sacrifice a unit to have the enemy shoot at it so that you can move other units where you need them to go. And that's part of the system, is figuring out all of this information. So be sure to stop in and watch the next episode. We're going to look at the next boot camp scenario and have some more fun with John Tiller's campaign series. Again, this game is still available, still for sale, I believe, on the Matrix Game website. You can check it out. In fact, they even have released a brand new campaign game, which has the Middle East conflicts from like 1946 to 1998 or something like that, something like that. I'll have to figure it out and get with you guys for the next episode. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and we're going to delve into some more in the next episode. So thanks for watching.